Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend. It's August 22nd. Some of you may be wanting the weekend back. Market sell off today. Down 2%. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy Money sticks around. Here's our Twitter. It's at Happy Money YT. And our Discord server. Link for those are in the description. Yeah. Market's pretty scared today. I think it's really just starting to price in Powell and then Jackson Hole this week, and then PCE and data coming out, because there's not really any data per se to support this much money getting flowed out. So yeah, I think it's maybe just starting to price that in. Pretty oversold here on the hourly on SPY, so probably a little bounce into close at least to VWAP or tomorrow, but on the daily, on the longer term, it's flipped bearish now. We've got our red under the 9 moving average and a bearish MACD. So that gap get filled? No, I expect that gap to get filled this week, and we'll see. We'll just see if we find support at that like 410 area, and kind of make probably kind of a head and shoulders at that point to consolidate, or we'll bounce. Really, Powell and Jackson Hole at the end of the week could spark, you know, more of a bear market rally to continue. But at this point, I think it's just pricing in that they're, you know, scaring the market basically. CPI, I think, really is what going to change the direction, like this direction we had here, or the direction we had here. I think CPI in a couple weeks will be the decider if we continue this rally or if we make new lows on the SPY. Yeah, I think the next leg down could be the big one. Like the probably the biggest crash of the year, I would say, percentage wise and time frame wise. But yeah, hard to know at this point. But I think it probably would be, because this has been the biggest bear market rally we've had so far this year. However, they might be able to kick it down until elections, until November. So yep, just waiting on data. But yeah, market's definitely scared today. Pretty big gap down and just been basically oversold most of the day on shorter time frames, and then 30-minute hourly, it's just way oversold. But it can do that. I mean, it did it back here. A good example, gap down, just stayed pinned down there, and then gap down more, and you know, it never really had a bounce from that oversold. This was a little bounce, but then it came lower. So we'll be looking for some sort of bottom here on this trend. This is an inverse head and shoulders to solidify the bottom basically. But that was a big move back there when we had those. Whoa, was that here? No, or was that actually? Let me look at that on the daily chart. 613. Okay, yeah, I think it was there. Yeah, so I was back here. So this was a really bad 4 days. We could be setting up for that, honestly, because I think most of the data is coming out. Powell's not till Friday. PCE's on Friday. Jackson Hole might be earlier this week. But yeah, this is the beginning of might be a long week. The downside. Yeah, we'll see. All the momentum's there now at this point. Volume was kind of slowing down with all this bullishness, and yesterday we started to get a little more volume. See what today closes with. We've got about 30 minutes left. With that, GME, our SLD, OPEX rally, we might get a little bit. The market's really bearish like this. Probably won't be a great one, but I still could see a bounce tomorrow, just from that, or Wednesday. But if we don't get much tomorrow or Wednesday, this I think we'll just keep trading with the market, the SPY, and probably keep coming down. And looking for kind of like this 32 range area, and if not that, if we keep dropping below that, probably down here the 29, 28 area. We'll just see how far down the market goes. Basically, if it's the biggest crash of the year, and we have that all happen before November, then I could see us testing these lows, these teens, if it really is. Yeah. So that all is also kind of, or at least GME is kind of tied in, I think, with BBY at this point. So if BBY gets big action by the end of the month from their announcement, or from Reg Show or whatever catalyst there could be coming up with it, then it's possible GME gets dragged up with BBBY with that. So that might have kind of an inverse effect on the market if the market's not super bearish, but just kind of flat or just a little bit down. These could rally, I suppose. So that's at BBY, another down day, pretty bad, 13% on this one. Looks like it's definitely going to fill this 829 gap it made here, and maybe that 616 gap before it really finds a reversal. Still has room. I mean, the RSI is not even too bad on the hourly. Daily, it's just still kind of in the middle. So yeah, all the speculation on what Ray Cohen's doing and his big master plan. Haven't heard anything yet. If nothing else, it'll probably won't know of anything until BBY's announcement. They said this month, by the end of this month. So I think it could be any time, really. Doesn't necessarily have to be the last day or somewhere that last week. So yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, for the next 2 days, don't get really bullish on GME. This was the double top that we were kind of waiting for, that we saw back here, and even here, just more spread out. This was more the time frame I was expecting, though, beginning of the month, and then kind of end of the month after the OPEX and SLD. But yeah, it's possible it happened early. I mean, when this came down, we had that red under the 9, we had the bearish MACD. I'm like, that's not a good sign for what we've seen in the past. You know, that's the beginning of a long downtrend. But it's possible, since we've split and we've kind of been in this longer term bullish trend, we won't see a long sustained downtrend. We'll just find support somewhere higher. So still have this kind of weekly bull flag that's kind of false broken out on the weekly, and now just kind of coming down to test kind of the bottom parts of that flag, I'd say. So yeah, kind of a waiting game, I'd say, at this point on that. Citadel also got a $600 million loan. I didn't really look at the rates or compare what they usually get. I guess the rates were pretty awful. The headline on the story, though, was that they've had such a stellar year so far. Lenders were lining up to basically give them a loan, and so they did, just to increase their balance sheet. And it's a bit of word trickery. I mean, that is true. Creditors love to give people that are good with their money, which is kind of an oxymoron. When you don't need it, they'll give it to you, and when you need it, they won't. So the fact that he had kind of, I guess, potentially really bad rates on it, and if they had such a good year, like, shouldn't necessarily need it. But at any rate, last time they got an injection of cash, I think it was like 1 billion or so from Susquehanna. I think it was Susquehanna. I can't remember. I read about it. You guys can look at Discord. We shared DD on there. It was back here in January, and so basically they just shorted it down for the next like 2-3 weeks, and that was actually breaking the supports. I remember how it all kind of played out. They turned that Yaz up a tiny bit, just a touch, and I was like, all right, well, we're at this kind of historic support back here in January or December. Yeah, December, January. And so we figured this was a bottom. We were even getting the kind of the double trough. And then I can't remember if this was supposedly the NFT marketplace news, but it wasn't. I think it was FTDs or something, this big gap up this day. And then made that funny rocket formation we have here. And then we hear about Citadel with this like $1.1 billion cash infusion, basically. And they gave up like 3 seats on their board. This company that, this Citadel company that's been built by Ken Griffin for all these years, where they've never given up any really real position. So kind of suspicious on that. And then, if you look at that chart, you're not thinking it's going to break that support. And if it does, that's bad, right? So here they get all that cash, and then boom, they flush through that support that at the time we thought that probably would not be broken. And that's actually maybe when we got our death cross. I think that probably all happened at the same time. Yep. Oh no, the death cross actually happened before. So we had the death cross back here, and then they got that infusion of cash, and then broke supports. So this wasn't as big of a loan. This was like 600 million. This was an actual loan with potentially bad rates. So we'll see if they'll be able to use the same tactics and basically not fulfill obligations this week. with OPEX and SLD, or if they'll be able to even short it down more with the momentum of the market potentially. We have still crossed, we're still in a golden cross formation where this 50 is over the 200. So it's coming back down. I mean, it's retesting it. We'll see if it bounces and stays bullish, stays over it. It very well could. Yeah, kind of depends on the whole market at this point and how closely it's tied to BBBY, and if BBBY gets a bigger move kind of before GameStop's cycle, more or less. Which I think that it could, but we also, and we have the split from GameStop, so we could still expect price action from the split, more so than just this. You know, with the other stocks that split, where they're probably heavily shorted, Tesla's, Nvidia. It was 2 months, I think, with Tesla, maybe less with that than Nvidia, 2-3 months. So, and then all the shares that are basically missing from people's accounts around the world. So there could still be those catalysts that could definitely cause this short squeeze, even, you know, to blindside the TA, the momentum, at least on a longer time frame, where we're not in this cycle basically anymore, and we're waiting for it to happen again. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. Let's see. I shorted some puts on GameStop today, maybe a little early, got a little nervous, but I'll just stick with them. Let's see, what do we do? I still have quite a few bullish plays, just other option plays, in anticipation of more bear market rally, but probably should have figured they would start pricing in bearishness for Powell and Jackson Hole and PCE. But anyways, if those aren't too bad, then I think it could keep going, and definitely what Powell says could cause it to continue to rally. GCT, bought and sold that this morning. Yeah, took a little loss. That one's kind of that hype IPO. Took a little loss on Peloton, call debit spread, little loss on Neo. So some of these are just bullish ones. I just wanted to reduce some exposure. I did buy some GME calls today, too early. I don't know what I was thinking, but just for the week, 40 calls in case we do get that action in the next 2 days. I averaged into my BRCC calls early on that one too. I don't know why I was impatient this morning, but BBBY. So I rolled down. I have a poor man's cover call. I've got 3 6-strike January calls on BBY, and I sold cover calls on it. They were at 1750. They were like 95% profitable, basically almost free to close, and I rolled it down to, does it even show on here? No, it doesn't. Oh yeah, to a 12 call. Yeah, that's it. So I rolled those down to a 12 call expiring this Friday. So I received a little more premium, like $200 on that. So now those leaps are basically, well, half leaps or whatever. January contracts are they're free, and I've made, I don't know, $300 on them or something so far, and I still have them for if there's another rally up. Bought a SPY call at the bottom today and just made a little scalp on it on its little bounce off the bottom. At close today, see, it's already pulled out of that bad RSI on the 5-minute. Got about 20 minutes left. We'll see. I might get calls at close, and then just weekly call. Oh, GME's getting a little move too, and then just close them out at the bell, or close them out tomorrow after the bell, shortly after the bell. We get a little gap up. Probably be a good time to buy them now. The calls don't expire till Wednesday though, so you won't get quite the same move. But I think with that oversold, we should see a little bounce tomorrow, since this wasn't on any specific data that I know of. This sell-off these last 2 days, more or less, is just kind of, again, pricing that in. Yeah, so on the margin, so here's I sold 32, shorted 32.5 puts for this week on GME. I think it was like 400 something credit. And then here's my BBBY puts that I'm rolling over. So these are for September 2nd, $10 strike. So ideally BBBY will be over $10 by next Friday. If not, I'll just try and keep rolling them down and try and get that cost basis lower and lower until they come out of the money, more or less. So that's tying up a lot of capital though at that point, or at this point. Here's the TD account. So I also shorted some puts on here, 33.25 on GameStop for this week. Might close out some of these. 'Cause, we'll see. We'll see. Mondays are usually pretty red. Could have like a turnaround Tuesday anyways, so maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. Oh, I bought Weber shares on here also. Premiums are so high on Weber, I didn't want to mess around with contracts really. But a lot of the bullish stuff is down, of course. Rivian puts are up and didn't do a whole lot else. Average into BRCC, but it was looking so nice earlier, and then it just came down with the rest of the market so heavily. Yeah, the bull flag was so pretty. It's still there. It's not as nice looking though, but I think this thing could still move up if it has a little momentum from the market, at least not just dragging it down. It's a good rally. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on Discord. Peace out.